necessary, but we don't have a Fed that knows what they're doing, so it's one of those little things. But if we had a Fed that would lower rates, you would have a rocket ship. When President Obama was here, he paid close to zero interest rates. I'm paying real interest. And yet our economy is much better than it's ever been. From election day, we're over 50% increase. And we've made trillions and trillions of dollars with a T, trillions. So we're doing very well. But last night was spectacular. Yes.
Infrastructure, and in particular when it comes to rural broadband for your base.
Yeah. I would love rural broadband. We're working on it, and I would love to have the Democrats come back and talk about infrastructure, talk about drug pricing. We're going to be announcing something very shortly, a favored nations clause. As you know, for years and years, other nations paid less for drugs than we do, sometimes by 60, 70%. We're going to be, and we're working on it right now, we're working on a favored nations clause where we pay whatever the lowest nation's price is. Why should other nations, like Canada, but why should other nations pay much less than us? They've taken advantage of this system for a long time, pharma. So we're working on right now a favored nations clause so that whatever the lowest nation is anywhere in the world, or company, but the lowest nation or company, then what happens is we will pay that amount, and that's being worked on right now. We're going to do it in the form of an executive order. We're thinking about doing that. It's one of the ways. We have 4 or 5 ways we can do it. It's one of the ways, and we're thinking about doing it very seriously. We're doing well in the census. No, he made a statement. He wrote something out. The judge didn't like it. I have a lot of respect for Justice Roberts, but he didn't like it. But he did say, come back. Essentially, he said, come back. That's what he was saying. So we'll see what happens. We can also add an addition on, so we can start the printing now and maybe do an addendum after we get a positive decision. So we're working on a lot of things, including an executive order.
Joe Biden called you a bully in that interview last night. What do you think of that?
I don't think I'm a bully at all. I just don't like being taken advantage of by other countries, by pharmaceutical companies, by all of the people that have taken advantage of this country. You look at what Joe Biden has done with China. We've lost our shirts with China, and now China's dying to make a deal. So, and we're taking, by the way, billions and billions of dollars in tariffs are coming in, and China's paying for it, not our people. So, if you look at what we've done, and if you look at what we've straightened out, I call it the Obama-Biden mess. We're straightening it out. Whether it's North Korea, you're going to end up in a war with North Korea as sure as you're standing there. And now the relationship is a good relationship. We'll see what happens. But as sure as you're there, you're going to end up in a war with North Korea. Well, I don't call them raids. I say they came in illegally, and we're bringing them out legally. These are people where we have the papers. We've gone through the court system. They'll be starting fairly soon, but I don't call them raids. We're removing people that have come in, all of these people over the years that have come in illegally. We are removing them and bringing them back to their country. Well, I don't think of it in terms of that. We're just celebrating our country, but there's nobody stronger. There's nobody that has a military anywhere close to ours. As you know, we spent $700 billion. When I took over the military, it was absolutely depleted. We had old planes, we had old jets, we had just stuff that was tired. Now we have the finest jets in the world, the F-35, the F-18s, the new ones. We have military equipment, the likes of which we've never had, building submarines, building aircraft carriers, all made in the USA. So it's a double. It's all made now. I'm all about jobs. We had great job numbers today, but when it comes to the military, it's not about jobs. We have to have the greatest in the world. There's nobody that comes close, and our military now is just about the top, just about the best it's ever been. There's nobody that comes close to the power we have in our military. What we have, and in fact, if you look, our nuclear now is in great shape. We've renovated, we've fixed, we're buying some new. Never want to use it. We never want to use it. But we have to be in a position that we have to be in a position. But our nuclear is in great shape. Our military now is in great shape. Well, I can just tell you, those people that you see, a lot of people in front of the White House, every one of them loved it. I would actually say, and I want to sort of give a little appreciation, the media, generally speaking, loved it. They loved the evening. We had a lot of rain. I stood in the rain. The teleprompter went out, so I had... Yeah, the teleprompter went out. It kept going on, and then at the end, it just went out. It went kaput. So I could have said, and actually right in the middle of that sentence, it went out. And that's not a good feeling. When you're standing in front of millions of people on television, and I don't know what the final count was, but that went all the way back to the Washington Monument. And I guess the rain knocked out the teleprompter. So, but no, it's not that. I knew the speech very well, so I was able to do it without a teleprompter. But the teleprompter did go out. And it was actually hard to look at anyway because it was rain all over it. But despite the rain, that was just a fantastic evening. I think people really had it. And I think a lot of people, you know, it was really a recruitment situation. A lot of people are going to be joining our Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Coast Guard. Well, she campaigned on, I'm going to get Trump, I'm going to get Trump. She never knew me. I never met her. I don't know who she is. But her whole campaign was that, and that's illegal. You're not allowed to do that. She knew nothing about me. She campaigned, oh, I'm going to get Trump. We have 100 clips, and so do you. And you can't do that. Our system isn't about that. Our system isn't about, let's see if we can find something. You can't do that. But her whole campaign was, I'm going to get Trump. I'm going to get him. Can't do that.
They've been
after me a long time. You know what? It's very interesting. After 500 witnesses, 2,500 subpoenas, every single person I know practically was called in one form or another. Nothing. And I'll tell you what, even with you people, you're honest people, none of you could have withstood that. They would have found something. If there was a comma put in the wrong place, if there was a period in the wrong location, they would have grabbed it. No collusion, no obstruction after that. It's amazing. You know what it shows? It shows I'm a very honest guy.
Mr. President, what's the next step on the southern border?
So China. So we'll see what happens. They're talking to us. They want to make a deal. But we had a deal, and they broke it. They broke the deal. They shouldn't have broken it. I think if they had it to do again, they wouldn't, because right now we put very big tariffs on, and we have a lot more to put on if we want. But China broke a deal. We are talking to them. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with Iran. Iran has to be very, very careful. Say it.
Why did the Vice President cancel his trip the other day to New Hampshire?
You'll know in about 2 weeks.
What is it?
There was a very interesting problem that they had in New Hampshire.
What kind of problem?
I can't tell you about it. It was, but had nothing to do with White House. There was a problem up there, and I won't go into what the problem was, but you'll see it about a week or 2 weeks.
Mr. President, how do you deal with immigration going forward? What's the next step of the crisis on the southern border?
The southern border is being policed very well by Mexico. Mexico is doing far more than the Democrats. We all know it because of tariffs, but they've been great. They put 6,000 people. They have many of them there now on the southern border, their southern border. On our southern border, which is the main border that you think of, they're going to have anywhere between 16,000 and 21,000 troops. It's had a big effect. You've only been there for about a week where they actually had the troops, but it's had a tremendous effect, tremendous impact, and you'll see the numbers starting to come in very well. Guatemala is going to be signing a Safe Third agreement. We're talking to Mexico. But Mexico's really doing a good job. I have to say. Very, very big. But here's the thing. When people come in illegally, and then it's crowded, and I've seen some of those places, and they are run beautifully. They're clean. They're good. They do a great job. They do a great job. They're crowded because the Democrats will not give us any relief from these loopholes. We have loopholes that are so bad. We have asylum that's so bad. So these places are, many of them, not all of them, but many of them, they're incredible. They're really well run. I'll tell you what, and I said it yesterday, Border Patrol did not train to be doctors and nurses and janitors. That's not what they trained to be. They trained to be Border Patrol. And that's what they're doing. And they're doing a phenomenal job. Because of the country, because we're doing so well as a country, we've never done this well. 2 days ago, we hit the highest stock market number we've ever had in the history of our country. Our country's doing great. Unemployment's very low. We just came out with 224,000 new jobs. The numbers are unbelievable. And that's bringing people up like they've never come up. Border Patrol and ICE have done a great job. Now, people are being removed from the country. We're removing them. We're starting with the MS-13. We've taken out thousands of MS-13 in gangs. But we've never had an onslaught. And the reason they came up is because, and they come up, is because the country's doing well. They want jobs.
Those facilities are overcrowded, they're dirty, it's a widespread problem. So what do you mean?
I think they do a great job with those facilities. But you know how it could be taken care of? Number one, tell them not to come because it's illegal. Very unfair to people that have been waiting online for 7 or 8 years, and they're about to be admitted, and they've studied, and they know the country and the history and everything. And then a person comes in, walks in, and all of a sudden, they become a citizen or they're allowed to stay. So thousands and thousands of people will be legally removed from the country, and that process has started. And we've actually been doing that for a long time.
Forget about Mexico tariffs.
Well, that I don't know because I don't run it, but I would say this. Probably every club in the United States has that because it seems to be, from what I understand, a way that people did business. But we've ended whatever they did. We have a very strict rule, and those rules are very strict. But it seems that every club practically in the United States, that's the way they did business. Well, I haven't seen it. I will say this. I think that the Border Patrol's been treated very, very badly by certain members of Congress. Very, very badly. For the most part, they're very respected by Congress, but certain members of Congress say very bad things and lie and exaggerate. And Border Patrol people are tough people. They're not happy about it.
Will you decide today on the citizenship question what route you're going to take? The judge wants an answer today.
I just spoke with the Attorney General. We have a number of different avenues. We could use all of them or one. We're doing very well on that issue. We're spending $15 to $20 billion on a census. We're doing everything. We're finding out everything about everybody. Think of it. $15 to $20 billion, and you're not allowed to ask them, are you a citizen? And by the way, if you look at the history of our country, it's almost always been asked. So we're fighting very hard against the system. That's a very difficult system, but we'll make a decision. The Attorney General is working on that right now.
What's the reason, Mr. President, for trying to get a citizenship question?
Well, you need it for many reasons. Number one, you need it for Congress. You need it for Congress, for districting. You need it for appropriations. Where are the funds going? How many people are there? Are they citizens? Are they not citizens? You need it for many reasons.
Mr. President, what's next for Ivanka Trump after the G20?
What?
What's next for Ivanka Trump after the G20?
I thought Ivanka was amazing at the G20, and I'll tell you, the foreign leaders loved her, and they just think she's great. She's very smart, and she's done a great job. She's sacrificed a lot. Ivanka and Jared worked very hard, and they sacrificed a lot to be doing this, but they want to do it. Ivanka has worked on almost 10 million jobs training and going to companies and getting them to hire people. But the people, the foreign leaders, really like her a lot.
Are you
Biden said you're going to pull out of
Are you
NATO.
grooming her for office?
I'm not grooming her for office.
Is Wilbur Ross John Kerry
At the border, as a parent, doesn't that make you want to do something?
Well, as you know, President Obama had separation. President Obama in 2014 built the cells that you always show on television. They were built by President Obama, but he had separation. The one thing he didn't have is a good economy. So he didn't have the kind of onslaught that we're having. We have a tremendous onslaught of people. Who can blame them? They want to get in. They want to take advantage of the economy. But they have to come in. They have to come in legally and through marriage. I think this Border Patrol has done an incredible job, and Mexico has been doing an incredible job. Yeah, he is. Wilbur's a good man. Look, a lot of people thought his answer was fine. I didn't see the answer yet. They thought it was fine. It can be expanded very simply. There are many reasons that you do it. But, we were surprised by that decision. Citizenship has been on that thing most of the time for many, many years. So it's very shocking that after spending $15 billion, it's not on.
Biden said you're trying to pull out of NATO.
No, tell Biden that NATO has taken total advantage of him and President Obama. They took it. We were paying for almost all of NATO. We're protecting countries. Those countries have to protect themselves with us. They have to make a contribution. In my first year, I raised over $100 billion from those countries. Biden didn't know what the hell he was doing, and neither did President Obama. NATO was taking advantage of. Now they're paying. They still owe us a lot of money. Biden doesn't know about that. He just thinks stupidly we do. NATO is fine, but they have to pay their way. The United States is not going to get killed on trade with Europe. Europe kills us on trade, which we're changing, and Europe then kills us because we defend Europe, and we lose a tremendous amount of money. So we lose on trade and the military. President Obama and Vice President Biden, they didn't have a clue. They got taken advantage of by China, by NATO, by every country they did business with. I don't know that I'll be able to. No, I hope they do well. I hope they win.
Mr. President Obama never said wanted to meet with Kim Jong-un. Why did you say that? Why did you say he was begging for a meeting?
He called Kim Jong-un on numerous occasions to meet. President Obama wanted to meet with Kim Jong-un, and Kim Jong-un said no. Numerous occasions he called. And right now we have a very nice relationship. We've done a lot, and we've gotten our hostages back. We're getting the remains back. A lot of good things are happening, and there's been no nuclear testing. During President Obama, they were nuclear testing. They were sending missiles. Right now, everything's nice and quiet.